Today is November 3rd. It's the 308th day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. A gigantic prehistoric sea monster spewing atomic breath and raining destruction down upon Tokyo looms large upon hundreds of movie screens in Japan when the first Godzilla film is released on this day in 1954. The film receives a lukewarm reception during its initial run. What Japanese filmgoers cannot imagine when Godzilla makes his film debut on this day is that the character will go on to appear in nearly 36 sequels and become the most famous pop cultural icon ever to come out of Japan. It's only 9 years since the end of World War II and the Japanese surrender after the atomic bombings of the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States. And it's only 8 months since the Lucky Dragon 5 disaster, a Japanese fishing boat that is exposed to high amounts of nuclear fallout when a U.S. thermonuclear weapons test is conducted at Bikini Atoll in March of 1954. Though the Lucky Dragon 5 is outside the test site danger zone, the test bomb is twice as powerful as anticipated, and all 23 crewmen on the fishing boat suffer acute radiation syndrome from it. All of this is the inspiration for Godzilla, which is, of course, a metaphor for nuclear apocalypse. The large-scale destruction, the horror, the powerlessness of the citizenry, even the texture of the skin of the dinosaur-like Godzilla creature is modeled after the scars of Hiroshima victims. Producer Tomoyuki Tanaka comes up with the idea for Godzilla on a plane ride from Indonesia to Japan. In early 1954, he's producing a film set to shoot in Indonesia about the Japanese occupation of Indonesia during World War II. And it turns out that Indonesians still harbor some resentment towards Japan for the atrocities inflicted upon their nation during the occupation. Tanaka is denied permission to film in Indonesia. He flies over there to try to convince the authorities in person, but it's no use. And it's on his way back to Japan, on the plane, looking out at the ocean that looks much like the fishing grounds of the Lucky Dragon 5, on a plane flying towards the Japanese island on a similar heading as that of the Enola Gay as she delivered the atomic device codenamed Little Boy to the unsuspecting population of Hiroshima that morning 9 years earlier. It's as Tanaka looks out the window on that plane that he comes up with the idea for a movie about a giant monster who obliterates an unsuspecting population. As Tanaka puts it, quote, "Mankind had created the bomb, and now nature was going to take revenge on mankind." Yet Godzilla is also a monster of Japan's own creation, a creature that emerges from the depths of the ocean and is given extraordinary powers by nuclear radiation from a Japanese H-bomb test. Godzilla is both a symbol of American aggression that brings pain and suffering in the form of catastrophic devastation, as well as a symbol of Japan's guilt for its imperialism and its own aggression against China and the United States that backfires as the horrific death and disfigurement of hundreds of thousands of Japanese citizens on the main island. When Godzilla premieres on this day in 1954, it's a box office hit, but a dud with the critics. It's another couple years before Japanese reviewers accept Godzilla for the cultural masterpiece that it is, after the film is released in the US as Godzilla, King of the Monsters, with new scenes added to include American actor Raymond Burr as a journalist reporting on Godzilla's comings and goings in the film. The positive reviews in the US make the Japanese critics take a second look at the film when it's re-released in Japan. They must like what they see a second time around. The audience sure does. 27 more Godzilla films are made over the years, as well as 3 reproductions in the US, plus 2 original American Godzilla films. And don't worry, there are more Godzilla films coming. There are 58 days left in the year. On This Day is produced by me, Dave Schultz. Thank you very much for listening. Born on this day in 1949, editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, Anna Wintour. Wintour is born in London. Her father, the editor of the Evening Standard, and her mother, an American. She enters the fashion industry at an early age, works her way into fashion journalism, and is now arguably the most powerful person and certainly the most influential figure in the world of fashion. So if you're still listening, you either know fashion or you don't. I don't. Talk to you tomorrow.